Hello everyone, this is Dr. Carlos Galera Zarco. Welcome to the session number 7 in your module Agile and Hybrid Project Management. Well, today we are going to cover the second part of modern project scheduling techniques, which is basically the model-based approach. Well, the main objective of this session is that you will understand the process of model-based scheduling. Actually, this week is going to be much more practical than theoretical. But here I will give you some theoretical guidelines and I will explain some advantages of the use of a model-based scheduling in construction projects. In our synchronous session, you will have the opportunity to develop a 4D model. And in preparation of this session, you should check the chapters from the introductory course for Navisworks, that is the software that we are going to use. Well, first of all, I would like to provide you an introduction for model-based scheduling. Model-based scheduling helps understanding of the construction components and schedule progress. Overall, this leads towards better construction planning. As the material arrives at the job site, the planning technique and the 3D model can be combined with other BIM-enabled tools to provide construction monitoring services. Based on the construction monitoring, the construction planning can follow a clear strategy. This helps to update the schedule and the 3D model simultaneously. And finally, the record model can be generated as the final progress of the construction as the as-built models, which are completely updated in the building information system. Here, in that figure, you can see the data flow and the workflow for the development of a 4D model. As you can see, the first step obviously will be to open the model. And then we can distinguish two parallel activities that must be run at the same time: the scheduling with the use of schedule data and the geometry data. We have already developed a 3D geometry, like for example a Revit model that we can import in a 4D software such as Navisworks. And then we can import the schedule from other software such as Microsoft Project, or we can create the schedule by using Navisworks. In any case, we need to choose the type of activity. If this is construct, demolish, or is a temporal activity, and then create selection set folders according to the project's work breakdown structure that we have developed previously. And here, maybe the steps 6 and 7 are the most important ones, because we need to create the selection with respective geometry for each task. It means to link selections sets with task. We need to select the objects from our 3D model and connect them with the task and the schedule allocated for that particular task. So when we link the schedule data with the geometry data is when we are already creating the 4D model in BIM. The second part of the process is more oriented to the visualization. So we can create different viewpoints that show different construction sequences which are interesting from a planning perspective. And finally, which is probably the most powerful advantage that we can achieve through model-based scheduling, which is the visualization. We can create a movie that describes the whole process about how the project is going to be executed. We can use dynamic visualization in Navisworks, or we can create a serial of snapshots to represent key points in our schedule. Well, It's important to understand that the model-based scheduling offers opportunities for any type of construction project. However, the challenges related to the project might vary from project to project. For example, in a construction project, the project teams can use the 4D model to manage the construction schedule, avoiding overlapping or interruptions between different teams and activities, and also matching the timeline with the location-based schedule, communicating the short-term objectives to the different teams, to the different stakeholders, and evaluating the daily progress. I mean, it provides very good opportunities for tracking the progress in the project. However, in a renovation project, maybe the major criteria to use a 4D model would be how the swing space, the shared space, is going to be used during the execution processes. Or, for example, how to move tenants for how long during the construction task are taking place within the building. Other important aspect to consider is the role of 4D models in the construction life cycle. Well, a 4D model can be used in all the stages of the project life cycle. Mainly, we can differentiate four stages that can benefit from 4D models. The first one is the pre-design. This is basically the stage where the feasibility of the project is evaluated. In that case, the 4D models act as a very useful medium for strategic project planning, where different phases sequences, space configuration, and construction schedule optimization can be done. As we mentioned before, 4D models used for renovation projects will analyze different alternatives based upon whether to move the tenant out of the building or not. In the design development, 4D models are very useful to validate the constructability of the design and to determine the advantages of different activities and different sequences of activities for the construction. Through these models, we can optimize the construction schedule, the different phases in which the construction will take place, etc. It also facilitates communication of the plan to the project teams and different stakeholders. Also, the 4D models can be very useful in the bidding process for constructors, especially when the project involves a high degree of complexity. In general terms, the 4D models help in understanding better the construction activities. So, if the contractor has a better understanding of the space, the sequence of activities, and the constraints, the bid will be more realistic and accurate, and all the stakeholders involved in the project will benefit from that. Finally, during the construction process, the 4D models are used for better coordination between teams and for review purposes. In other words, it gives us a fair understanding of the traffic on the construction site and the site flow processes. These models can also be used for weekly or fortnight construction progress review and tracking. And this allows the different teams to compare the as-built with the as-planned project schedule for a better management of the project. Overall, we can distinguish two main benefits of 4D modeling. The first one is connected with providing the construction manager and the project manager with much more time to further coordinate other tasks. And the second one is clearly linked with the mitigation of many other problems associated with schedule misinterpretation and schedule accuracy by having an enhanced visualization that link the schedule to the virtual construction, to the 3D model. Basically, when we see a virtual representation of the project and see it taking shape in a sequence of activities, It creates a much better understanding between all the project team members because it eliminates the difficulty of evaluation and communication of activities interdependency. Traditionally, 2D models drawings were used to showcase phase which would require teams people to visualize in their minds what all activities will happen at what particular time and space of the project. But the problem was that some teams might miss some essential factors because of a lack of ability to visualize the project activities. The overall aim for a 4D model is to visually represent and communicate the plan of the project's construction, representing much more clearly the scope of the work, the different responsibilities, and the different activities that need to be carried out to achieve the project objectives. In terms of software, there are different companies that have developed their own software to create 4D models. Some examples are Creo or Pico software. We were talking about Pico software last week because they are the only ones which include software to create location-based scheduling. Well, actually, the most popular one software to create 4D models are Synchro, which has been developed by Bentley, and Autodesk Navisworks, which is the software that we are going to use for our practice and that you will use for your assessment part A. Well, in preparation to the workshop that we will have next Tuesday, you need to achieve these two objectives. The first one is to understand the different file formats that you have in Navisworks, and the most important one is to learn how to navigate, select objects, and create sets in Navisworks. In Navisworks, we can distinguish three types of file formats. The cache files, which are the NWC, the NWF, and the ad hoc Navisworks documents, which are the NWD. It's important that you familiarize yourself with the navigating tool and understand how to use the view cube, steering wheels, pan tools, zoom tools, orbit, work and fly tools, select tool, and 3D connection. And even more importantly is that you understand how to select the objects. Overreading color, transparency, and transform, hiding and turning on objects, moving the items, rotating the items, or scaling different items. And finally, it's also important that you understand how to use the selection tree in order to find different items, save your selections as a set, or using different tools for quick find or inspector. And finally, some basic knowledge on how to work with viewpoints. These are the basics for Navisworks. This is quite straightforward, so please have a look at the 3 chapters of the LinkedIn course I'm proposing you, and you will be ready for our practice in the synchronous session. As a summary, you have here the 2 main takeaways from this session. The 4D BIM modeling can facilitate and improve collaboration and coordination in projects. And through this model-based scheduling, we can mitigate many of the common issues in planning and scheduling which are connected with a schedule misinterpretation. Here you have some references. Please also have a look at the reader list that I have prepared and you have access in Moodle. And that's all from me now. Goodbye.